I came back today, I said. I felt ready. The road rolled under the truck. Dust rose, then fell. I left for 15 years, I said. I carried pride. The driver glanced over. You okay, sir? He asked. I was okay, I said. Now the town felt strange. Home changes when we change, he said softly. Home changes us too, I said. My heart still hurt. You will see your parents? He asked. I will, I said. Their house sat past the creek. I had money now, I said. Too much maybe. Money helps, he said. But it cannot hug you. I knew, I said. I lost faith along roads. Want to pray? He asked. I prayed already, I said. I asked for courage. Courage meets you at the door, he said. We turned onto my old lane. Weeds touched the tires. I made a promise, I said. I would fix things. He parked. Want me to wait? No, I said. I needed this walk. He drove off. Gravel cracked under my boots. Each step counted my years. My house, I breathed. My parents' house, once full. Now quiet. The porch sagged. Paint peeled. Windows looked like tired eyes. I chased money, I whispered. I forgot their simple love. The yard held rust and weeds. The door hung crooked. I heard a rustle near the gate. I moved and hid. A thin woman walked up the path, careful and quick. She carried a cloth bag. Steam rose from it softly. She set the food by the door and looked around. Her eyes held pain and strength, shame and quiet pride. She touched the wood. God, please help them, she whispered. Heat rose in my face. I felt small and wrong. I should be here, I thought. Not this brave stranger. She turned to leave. I stepped from the vines and spoke. Excuse me, I said. Do you need some help? She paused. I am fine, she said. Thank you. Do you know who lives here? I asked. An old couple, she said. They need food and kindness. Who are you? I asked. Why do you do this? I am Martha, she said. I lost my husband last year. My parents live here, I said. I lived here long ago. She studied my boots. You sound like the sun, she said. I am, I said. I left. I went far away. Then you came back, she said. That is good. They waited. How long have you helped? I asked. 2 winters, she said. I could not watch their hunger. You bought food with your money? I asked. No one paid, she said. Faith paid me. Peace paid me. What is inside? I asked. It smells like home cooking. Soup, she said. Bread, too. Soft bread for weak teeth. My father lost teeth, I said. My mother loved bread. I know, she said. She said thank you many times. Where do you work? I asked. I can drive you. I work at the diner, she said. Main Street by church. I can take you, I said. But I need a minute. I will walk, she said. The sky will cry later. Wait, I said. I am Ethan. I am their son, she faced me. Her eyes held both worry and light. I thought so, she said. Your mother said your name often. She talked about me? I asked. Even now? She prayed for you nightly, she said. She kept faith. I kept pride, I said. I carried money, not peace. Money helps, she said. But love feeds the heart. Why did you help? I asked. You did not know me. I knew hunger, she said. I knew loneliness and silence. My parents were proud, I said. They would not ask. They did not ask, she said. But need spoke loudly. I lifted the bag. May I take it inside? It is yours, she said. Your house, your parents, your duty. I failed them, I said. I ran when betrayal burned me. Pain makes people run, she said. But you came back. I will fix the roof, I said. I will pay debts. Good, she said. But feed them first. Warm soup matters. Please take this, I said. Let me pay. No payment, she said. Let me give. Keep your money. Why? I asked. You have a child. You need money. I have Grace, she said. Grace is my daughter's name. Grace, I said. A strong name. She sings while we cook, she said. It calms the house. I would like to meet her, I said. Maybe later, she said. When trust grows like bread, rain began, light as breath. She turned toward the lane. I watched her go. Shame and respect tugged at me. I pushed the door. The hinge cried. The hall wore dust. Mom, I called. Dad? My voice broke the silence. My mother stepped out with a thin shawl. Ethan, she said. My boy? Is it really you? It is me, I said. I came home at last. She touched my face. You grew strong, she said, but tired. I grew rich, I said, but my heart stayed poor. You are home, she said. Enough for now, come. Where is Dad, I asked. I brought soup and bread. In his chair, she said. He slept much these days. We went to the den. My father breathed with effort. Dad, I said. It's me. My words shook. His eyes opened. Son, he said. Long road, huh? Long road, I said. I walked with pride and pain. He smelled the soup. That smells like mercy, he said. It came from a friend, I said. A widow named Martha. Kindness keeps a house standing, he said. Kindness builds peace. We ate in quiet. The bread broke soft and warm. Martha saved us, my mother said. Hard months came. I should have saved you, I said. I am sorry. Sorry helps, she said. But help now. Fix what broke. I will, I said. Roof, walls, doctor, heat, debts. You still have that fire? My father asked. I do, I said. But I want peace more now. Peace grows with forgiveness, he said. Try it. Dust filmed the frames of years. A young me smiled there. I lost years, I said. I chased revenge and money. Let the past rest, my mother said. Stay, work, keep promise. I met Martha, I said. Her eyes held courage. She carried us, my mother said, when death came close. She fed my parents while I fed my pride, I said. The words tasted bitter and true. My mother squeezed gently. I want to thank her, I said. How can I pay? Pay kindness, my mother said. Pay time, pay honest truth. I will go to the diner tomorrow, I said. I will thank her. Rest first, she said. Storms tire the bones and heart. We spoke in short lines. We spoke of home and hope. My father dozed. My mother hummed a hymn of peace. I checked the kitchen. A bowl caught slow drops. I will make this right, I said. I owe this house. I set a small fire. Warmth spread through the room. It feels like home, I said. I will keep it safe. Do you still wear that watch? My mother asked. Yes, I said. Your gift kept time while I wandered. The door stayed open, she said. It stayed open always. I'm sorry for the silence, I said. I stayed away. Silence ends, she said. Love waits. Love has courage. Night pressed close. I sat by the window and thought. I thought of forgiveness, pain, memory, and truth. My pride bent, I said. It bent like a wet branch. I need to change, I said. I need to be a son. I need peace, I said. Not revenge. Not sharp answers. I wrote a short list. Roof, food, heat, debts, thanks, faith. I closed my eyes. I saw the diner's neon light. I saw Martha behind the counter, kind to strangers. Tomorrow I will thank her well, I said. I will stay. The rain eased. I checked on my father and mother. The clock clicked. Each click felt like mercy. My road brought me here, I said. Here I will heal. Dawn crept at the window's edge. The yard shone. A letter lay under the door. I picked it up. The envelope was plain. My name stood in careful script. I opened it. Ethan, it read. Your good heart, welcome. No signature. A pressed wildflower. Blue, small, brave. I held the letter to my chest and breathed peace. I will make this right, I whispered to the lane. My parents first, then others I hurt and left. 2 sets of prints led away in the mud. 1 set small, 1 set steady. Martha and Grace, maybe. I smiled. It felt new. It felt light. I turned back inside. Today I start, I said. I feed my heart. I stood before the old house. The wind was cold, dry, full of dust. The wood on the porch groaned like it remembered me. My heart beat slow, heavy. I took 1 deep breath and knocked. Who is it? A weak voice called. It's me, Ma, I said. My voice shook. Silence. Then I heard the sound of feet dragging across the floor. The door opened, and I saw her. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. Her hair was white. Her eyes were wet even before she spoke. Ethan, she whispered. Her lips trembled. I nodded. It's me, Ma. She touched my face with shaky hands. Oh, Lord, she said, you came home. I did, I said softly. After too long, she pulled me close, crying into my shoulder. Her tears burned through my shirt. I held her tight. The smell of old soap and wood filled my chest. Inside, the house was the same and not the same. The chairs leaned. The clock had stopped. There was silence in every corner. "Where's Dad?" I asked. She looked toward the back room. "He's lying down," she said. "He has good days and bad days. Does he know I'm here?" "He will," she said. "Give him a moment." I walked through the hall. The walls still had our old pictures. Me and David as kids holding sticks like swords. Dad laughing beside the barn. I turned one frame down. I couldn't look. "Ma," I said, "who's been helping you? The place looks hard." She didn't answer at first. Instead, she went to the stove, lit a small flame, and poured tea into 2 chipped cups. "Sit," she said. "You look tired." I sat. The chair creaked like it might break. She slid a cup toward me. Her hands shook. "You've done well for yourself," she said quietly. "I heard stories. People said you bought land, that you made money." I stared at the steam. "Money didn't fix much." She smiled, sad. "It never does." I took a sip. Bitter old tea. Then I asked again, "Who helps you here?" She looked at her hands. Then she whispered, "A widow from the edge of town. Martha Hale." The name felt strange, soft. "She comes almost every day," Ma said. "Brings soup, bread, sometimes medicine. She never asked for anything." "Why?" I asked. "Why would she do that?" "She said kindness feeds the heart," Ma said. I tried to pay her once. She refused. Guilt crawled up my chest. "How long?" I asked. "Over a year now." I set my cup down. "So she's been feeding my parents while I was gone making money," I said, my voice low. Ma looked at me with tears. "You were working." "You sent some help before." "Not enough," I said. "Not like her." She reached across the table and touched my hand. "Ethan, you carry too much shame," she said. "We never blamed you." I laughed, but it broke halfway. "You should have." "No," she said. "We blamed ourselves." I heard a cough from the back room. A deep, dry cough. Ma stood. "He's awake." "Go to him." I walked slowly through the hall. Each step was heavier than the last. The room smelled of medicine and dust. My father lay on a thin bed. He looked old, lost inside his own skin. His eyes opened, cloudy, searching. "Pa?" I said softly. He blinked. Who's that?" "It's Ethan," I said. "Your son." He squinted. Then a slow smile formed. "Ethan, boy," he whispered. "You came home." I moved closer, sat beside him. "I'm here, Pa." He tried to lift his hand. I took it. His skin was paper thin. "Where's David?" he asked. The name hit like a stone. "I don't know," I said. He coughed again. "Always thought you two would fix things." I said nothing. He closed his eyes. "Your brother came here once," he said weakly. "Said he'd help. But he didn't stay. Talked big, left small." I swallowed hard. "Don't think about him now, Pa," I said. "I don't," he whispered. "But sometimes at night I see you boys in the yard again. You fighting over the red horse. You both laughing. Feels real." My throat tightened. "I miss that too," I said. He squeezed my hand faintly. "Your mother worries," he said. "But that woman, the widow, she brings peace." "Like an angel," I nodded. "She saved you both," I whispered. He smiled faintly. "Maybe she saved more than us." His breathing slowed. I sat there for a long time, listening to the quiet. Every sound in that room felt sacred. When I returned to the kitchen, Ma was washing dishes, though there were only 2 cups. "He remembered you?" she asked. "For a moment," I said. "Enough," she sighed. "It's been hard. The ranch fell apart after you left. David said he'd handle the business. He sold the cattle, took the money. Then he disappeared." I clenched my jaw. "And Laura?" Ma's eyes darted away. "She came here once," she said quietly. "Wanted to know if you'd be back." "What did you tell her?" "I told her she should pray for her soul," Ma said. I almost smiled. "You always had faith." "It's all I had left," she said. We sat in silence. The clock ticked once, then stopped again. "I need to see this, Martha," I said finally. Ma nodded. "She works at the diner near the church." "Morning shifts mostly," I nodded back. "I'll go." "She doesn't know who you are," Ma added. "She just helps because she wants to." "I don't deserve that kind of kindness," I said. "No one does," she replied. "That's why it's a gift." I looked around the small kitchen again. So much gone, yet something pure still lived here. "Do you ever wish I'd stayed?" I asked. Ma smiled gently. "Every mother wishes her child stayed. But every heart knows it must let go." Her words hurt and healed at the same time. I stood and walked to the door. Outside, the wind had grown stronger. Dust moved like ghosts through the yard. "Ma," I said, "I'll fix this place." I'll make sure you and Pa have everything again. She looked at me, eyes soft. We don't need everything, Ethan. We just need you. I swallowed hard. I'll try, I said. You always did, she whispered. I stepped outside. The air felt heavy with memory. The sun was falling behind the hills, painting the sky in fire. As I walked to my truck, I heard the creak of the old swing. It moved on its own, like a hand waving goodbye. My chest ached. I sat behind the wheel, but I didn't start the engine yet. I could still hear Ma humming inside. A hymn she used to sing when we were boys. It filled the silence like prayer. Then I saw a small shadow near the fence. Someone was standing there, a woman in a gray coat holding a basket. She didn't see me. She walked to the porch, placed the basket near the door, and turned away. I knew her from last night, the same woman, the widow. Martha Hale. I stepped out quietly. Martha, I said. She froze, then turned. Her eyes met mine. There was no fear, just calm surprise, yes? She said. I was visiting my parents, I said. Her gaze softened. You're their son, I nodded. You know them? I try to, she said. They're good people. You bring them food, I said. She smiled lightly. A little bread, sometimes soup. Nothing big. It's big to them, I said. She shrugged. Old folks shouldn't go hungry. That's all. Her voice was gentle but firm. Her coat was worn, her shoes thin, yet she stood like someone rich in heart. I should thank you, I said. No need, she replied. We all help each other. The world's small. She started walking away. I wanted to stop her, ask more, say more, but my throat closed. Wait, I said finally. She turned again. My name's Ethan, I said. She smiled kindly. Nice to meet you, Ethan. I'm Martha. Then she walked down the road, her shadow long behind her. I stood there watching until she was gone. The air felt different now, lighter, yet full of something deep. Inside, I heard Ma call my name. I went back in. She looked at me, eyes bright. Did you see her? I did, I said, and she's not what I expected, Ma nodded. The good ones never are. I sat down again. My hands shook a little. She helps you every day? Almost, Ma said. Sometimes with food, sometimes with silence. Silence. She sits with me when I miss your father's old self, Ma said. She doesn't talk much, but it helps. I felt my throat burn. She's an angel, maybe, Ma whispered. Or maybe she's just someone who remembers what pain feels like. Her words hit me hard. Pain, remembering pain. Maybe that's what kindness really was. I stood, looked toward the door again. The basket still waited outside, full of bread and apples. I'll return it tomorrow, I said. Ma smiled. She won't take it back. Then I'll find another way. She tilted her head. To thank her? To understand her, I said. Ma reached for my hand. Don't lose your heart again, Ethan. I already did, I said quietly. But maybe I can find it here. She squeezed my hand once more, then let go. Night came. The lamps were weak, but the house felt alive again. I went to my old room. The walls still had the marks I made as a boy. I touched one scratch, a promise I carved long ago. I'll never leave home. I smiled sadly. I broke that, didn't I? But maybe, I thought, some promises don't end. They wait. I lay down, listening to the wind outside. I could still smell the bread she brought. Warm, real, human. And as my eyes closed, I whispered, Thank you, Martha. Whoever you are. I saw her again the next morning. The same woman. The same quiet steps. She carried a brown basket and walked down the muddy road toward the diner. I waited near the old fence, pretending to check my boots. Her hair was tied in a loose bun. Her dress was clean but faded. She moved like someone used to pain, careful, silent, steady. When she reached the diner, I followed her inside. The smell of coffee and burnt toast filled the air. She put on an apron and smiled at the cook. Morning, Joe, she said softly. Morning, Martha, he replied. Busy day ahead. She nodded and started wiping tables. I sat in the corner, hiding behind my hat. I ordered black coffee and eggs, but my eyes stayed on her. When she smiled at an old man eating soup, her face changed. It wasn't just kindness. It was something deeper, like peace born from pain. After a while, a small girl ran in, maybe 12, with bright eyes and messy hair. Mom, the girl said. School's over early. Martha turned. Grace, honey, sit. You hungry? The girl nodded. Martha gave her half a sandwich from her own plate. I saw her whisper, "Don't tell Joe, it's all I got till evening." Grace giggled and started eating fast. I looked away, my throat tight. I had money now, too much of it. But I hadn't shared a meal with family in years. Watching them hurt and healed me at the same time. The cook came near me. "You need anything else, sir?" "No," I said. "Just the check." As I paid, I asked quietly, "That woman, Martha, she works here every day?" Joe wiped his hands on a towel. "Yeah, single mother. Tough life. Husband died in some factory mess years back. But she don't complain. Helps everyone she can." "Factory mess?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Yeah, big company accident. Heard she never got a penny." My chest tightened. My brother owned only one factory in this region, the one that had burned years ago. When I stepped outside, the air felt heavier. I watched Martha wave goodbye to her daughter, who skipped down the road. Martha looked tired, but there was peace in her face. How could someone lose everything and still smile like that? That night I couldn't sleep. The memory of her sharing her food kept returning. I thought of my own mother skipping her meals so I could eat as a child. The circle of kindness never ends, I thought. It just waits for the right eyes to see it. The next morning, I went back to the diner. Martha was serving a group of men. One of them complained loudly. "This coffee's cold." She apologized softly, took the cup, and brought a new one. When she turned, our eyes met. For a moment, I forgot to breathe. "Do I know you, sir?" she asked kindly. I forced a small smile. "I'm new in town, just passing through." "Then welcome," she said. "Not many travelers stop here anymore." Her voice was calm, but her eyes carried storms. I wanted to tell her everything, my name, my guilt, my truth. But fear held me back. If she knew who I was, she might hate me. Instead, I said, "You have a daughter." "She seems bright." "Yes," Martha said softly. "She's my sunshine. Keeps me going. She must be proud of you." Martha smiled faintly. "She just thinks I'm strong, but I'm only trying not to break." Her honesty hit me harder than I expected. I looked down, pretending to stir my coffee. Sometimes truth speaks loudest when it whispers. After lunch, I followed her again, staying far behind. She stopped by an alley, took out bread from her bag, and fed stray dogs. Her own stomach growled, but she smiled at the animals. It was strange. She gave everything away and yet looked richer than anyone I knew. I walked closer, pretending to pass by. One of the dogs barked. She turned surprised. "Oh, you scared me, sir." "Sorry," I said quickly. "Didn't mean to." She laughed softly. "It's all right. They get jumpy. Guess kindness makes them forget fear for a second." That line stayed in my head. Kindness makes them forget fear. We walked a few steps together. I said, "You help those dogs often?" "Every day," she said. "They remind me of my husband." I frowned. "How so?" "He was kind too," she said quietly. "Always feeding strays. Said it keeps a man's heart alive." I nodded, trying to hide the shake in my hands. I wanted to ask more, but she spoke first. "He worked at the coal factory," she said. "Then one day the fire came. They said it was an accident. He never came home." The world around me blurred for a second. "The coal factory." "My brother's factory." "My name," I said carefully. "Did they help you? The owners?" She gave a small laugh. Not bitter, just tired. "No, I wrote letters." No one answered. I stopped asking. "You can't beg for mercy from people who live in marble houses." I didn't know if she saw my hands trembling. My heart pounded in my ears. She looked at me gently. "It's all right. I forgave them long ago. Hate only eats you alive." I wanted to tell her the truth, that I was Ethan Cole, the brother of the man who caused it all. But my throat closed. Cowards stay silent when it matters most, and I was one that day. We reached her home, a small wooden house near the river. Grace was outside, playing with a stick and an old tin can. "Hi, mister," she called. I waved. "Hi there," Martha said. "You want to come in for tea?" "It's nothing fancy." I hesitated, then nodded. The house smelled of bread and soap. On the wall hung a photo of a man in a worker's uniform, her late husband. Martha poured tea into chipped cups. Grace sat near the window, drawing with a broken pencil. "Nice home," I said. She smiled. "It's small, but it's ours." Every board has a story. Her words made me look around. The patched curtains, the uneven chairs, the worn table. Everything screamed survival. "Does the factory still run?" she asked suddenly. "No," I said quietly. "I heard the owner lost it all." She nodded. Maybe that's justice, not revenge. Just life finding its balance. Her faith stunned me. She had every right to hate, but she chose peace. Grace brought her drawing to me. "It's us," she said proudly. "Mom, me, and the nice man with the hat," Martha laughed. "Don't draw strangers, honey," Grace grinned. "But he looks kind." For a second, I wished I was that man. Kind, simple, free from guilt. When I left, Martha walked me to the gate. "Thank you for visiting," she said. "Thank you for the tea," I replied. Before I could stop myself, I asked, "Why do you still help people like my parents?" She looked confused. "Your parents?" I swallowed hard. "Old couple near the hill. You bring them food sometimes." "Oh, them," she said softly. "They remind me of my folks. I couldn't leave them hungry. We all grow old someday." Her words burned into my heart. I wanted to tell her those were my parents, that her kindness had saved them. But fear won again. "I see," I whispered. "You're a good woman." She smiled, eyes calm. Just a woman trying to keep her faith. When I walked away, the sun was setting. The light touched her face, turning her hair gold. She looked like peace itself. Quiet, unbroken, eternal. Every step I took after that felt heavy with truth. She had lost everything because of my family, yet she carried no hate. And I, who had everything, carried nothing but shame. That night I sat by my window, unable to eat. The moonlight fell on my hands. I kept seeing her face, her calm, her strength. I whispered to the dark. She fed my parents, fed stray dogs, fed hope. And I, the man who caused her pain, hide behind lies. I closed my eyes. For the first time in years I prayed, not for wealth, not for revenge, but for courage. The courage to tell her the truth one day. I found my mother in the old kitchen that morning. The smell of weak tea filled the air. She sat near the window, her hands still, her eyes lost in the pale light. "Ma," I said softly. She looked up, smiled, then looked down again. "You came early today. I couldn't sleep. Your father spoke your name last night," she said. "He thought you were still a boy." I nodded. "Sometimes I feel I still am." She didn't answer. The clock ticked. The silence hurt. Finally, she said, "There's something I've kept from you." I looked at her. "Another secret?" Her lips trembled. "A letter." I waited. My hands felt cold. She reached into the drawer and pulled out a folded paper, old and thin. She held it close for a second, like it was something alive. Then she pushed it toward me. "This came many years ago," she said. "From Martha Hale." That name hit me hard. "The widow?" I asked. She nodded. "Yes, the woman who brings food for us." I took the letter. My name wasn't on it. It was addressed to David Cole, my brother. "Why do you have it?" I asked. "Because your brother never opened it," she said. I stared at the paper. "Never?" She shook her head. "He threw it away. I found it later near the fire." I opened the letter. The handwriting was careful, small, gentle. I read it slowly. "Mr. David Cole, my husband worked for your company. He died last month after the accident in the mill. I am not writing to beg, only to ask for what was promised, his last pay. I have a small child to feed. Please, if you can, send what is due. I wish no anger between us. I only ask for fairness. Sincerely, Martha Hale." That was it. No anger, no threats. Just quiet pain. I folded it, held it tight. My chest felt heavy. "And he ignored her?" My mother nodded slowly. "Yes. He said she was trying to get money she didn't earn." I stood up. My voice shook. "He killed her husband with that broken machine and still—" "Ethan," she said gently. "Sit down." I sat. My hands shook. "She forgave him," my mother whispered. I looked at her. "What?" "She came to the door once after your father got sick. She said she didn't want trouble. She only wanted peace." "Peace," I said bitterly, while we sat here doing nothing. "She brought soup that night," my mother said. "And bread." I was too ashamed to stop her. I rubbed my face. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you were gone," she said softly. "You hated this town. You hated us." "I didn't hate you," I said. "I hated what I became here." Her eyes filled with tears. "You became strong. I became cold," I said. "And she stayed kind." The room felt small. I stood, walked to the window, looked at the dry field. "She had every reason to hate us," I said. "She chose faith instead," my mother whispered. That word, Faith hit deep. I turned back. Did Father know? Yes, she said. He told me once, if you meet a woman who forgives what others can't, don't let her walk away. Her words cut straight through me. What do you mean? I asked. She looked at me, tired eyes soft but bright. He meant Martha. She's the kind of woman your father always wished you'd marry. I froze. My throat went dry. Why would he say that? Because he saw what she did, she said. When the town turned cold, she still helped. When people gossiped, she stayed quiet. She had nothing, but she gave more than anyone. I felt my chest tighten. You talk like she's an angel. No, my mother said, smiling faintly. Just human. The kind we forget to be. I sat again silent. My mother reached for my hand. Her skin was thin, her fingers cold. Ethan, she said softly, I didn't show you this to make you angry. I showed you so you'd remember who you are. Who am I, Ma? The boy who once gave his last dollar to fix a neighbor's fence, she said. The man who used to promise never to let greed win. I closed my eyes. Her words hurt. I broke that promise. Then make a new one. I sighed. To who? To yourself, she said. And maybe to her. Silence filled the room again. The clock ticked louder. After a while I asked, did you ever thank her? My mother nodded. I tried. She said, no need, ma'am. We all feed someone in our life. Her voice broke. Then she smiled and left. I saw that smile in my mind. Quiet, sad, forgiving. Does she know I'm back? I asked. Maybe, my mother said. This town whispers everything. I leaned back in the chair. What would she think of me now? My mother gave a weak smile. You tell me. I didn't answer. My thoughts spun. The letter, the accident, my brother's greed. David will never say sorry, I muttered. Then don't wait for him, she said. I can't forgive him. You can, she said softly. You just don't want to, I laughed once, bitter. He stole everything. My name, my work, my wife. And what did you keep? I looked at her. She said, your heart. It's just buried. That silence again. The kind that presses on the chest. I stood and walked around the room. My father's hat hung by the door. The walls smelled of time. I turned back. Why didn't you send the letter back to her? I was ashamed, she said. I thought we didn't deserve her kindness. I looked at the folded paper again. It felt warm from my hand. She never asked again? No, my mother said. She kept bringing food. My voice cracked. Why? She said your father once helped her husband fix a fence. She said she owed him a kindness. I sank into the chair. All this time. She was paying a promise. Yes, my mother whispered. While you were chasing money, she was keeping faith. That hit deep. I stared at the letter again. I saw her words in my head, simple and soft. I wish no anger between us. Ma, I said quietly, do you think people like her still exist? She smiled faintly. They never leave. We just stopped seeing them. I didn't speak. After a long pause, I asked, did Father really want me to marry someone like her? He wanted you to marry peace, she said. Not beauty. Not money. Peace. Her words stayed in the air. I whispered, maybe it's too late for me. She shook her head. It's only late when you stop feeling. I tried to laugh, but my voice broke. I feel too much. That's your punishment, she said. And your gift, I smiled sadly. You sound like a preacher, she shrugged. Maybe I just lived long enough to understand pain. I stood and walked toward the door. Where is she now? Still at the diner, my mother said. Every morning, I nodded. I'll see her. Be gentle, she whispered. She doesn't know what you know. I won't tell her, I said. Good, not yet. Let the truth breathe first. I paused by the door. Ma, do you ever regret forgiving Father for what he did to you? She looked at me calm. No, forgiveness isn't about them. It's about peace. Her voice trembled. I sleep easy now. That's my reward, I nodded slowly. Maybe peace is worth more than money. She smiled. You're finally learning. I looked at her face, tired but full of light. For the first time, I saw how much she carried in silence. Thank you for keeping this letter, I said. I kept it for you, she whispered. Because I knew one day you'd need it more than she did. I held the paper again. What should I do with it? Whatever lets your heart rest, she said. I left the house. The air was cold, the sky gray. I walked down the road, the letter in my hand. Each step felt heavy, but my mind was clear. I read the lines again in the wind. I wish no anger between us. She had lost everything, her home, her man, her peace. Yet she wrote with grace. I had gained everything, wealth, power, freedom. Yet I had no rest. The contrast burned inside me. When I reached the old oak, I stopped. I folded the letter, pressed it to my chest. Thank you, I whispered to the air. A memory of her face came back. Quiet eyes, small smile, strong hands. I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not shame, something softer. Maybe this was forgiveness beginning to grow. I turned back toward the house. My mother stood at the porch watching me. She waved once weakly. I raised my hand and smiled. That evening, as I sat alone by the fire, I promised myself something. No revenge, no hate, no running. Tomorrow, I'd go see Martha Hale, not as the rich man she didn't know, but as the son she helped feed, and maybe, just maybe, I'd find my peace. I waited outside the small diner, watching the last light fade. The sign buzzed and flickered. My palms felt warm even in the cool air. I told myself again, don't say your real name. Don't say who you are. When Martha stepped out, she held her daughter's hand. Grace looked sleepy, holding a small bag with bread inside. I walked up slowly. Excuse me, I said, smiling. Do you know a place where a traveler can eat home food tonight? Martha looked at me, confused. A traveler? You're not from here? No, I said, lying with ease. Just passing through. Someone told me you cook well. She laughed softly. That someone lied. I just try my best. But we have some soup left at home. Her eyes were kind. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for anything. She simply offered. I said, if you let me pay, I'd be grateful. Martha shook her head. If you come as a guest, you eat as a friend. I followed them to their small house at the edge of town. It looked old but clean. A small lamp glowed through the window. Grace pushed the door open and ran inside. Mom, can I set the table? She asked. Of course, Martha said, smiling. I stood near the door. The smell of soup filled the air. Simple food, but it felt like warmth itself. You can sit, she said, pointing at the chair. I nodded and sat. Thank you for letting me join. It's nothing, she said. We don't have much, but we share what we can. Her words felt like truth I hadn't heard in years. Grace put 3 plates on the table. Mom says guests bring luck, she said. I smiled. Then I hope I bring a little, the girl grinned. Are you rich? I froze for a second, then said softly, not in the ways that matter. Martha gave her daughter a look. Grace, that's not polite. It's okay, I said quickly. She's just curious. We ate quietly for a moment. The soup was thick and hot. My chest felt full, not from food, but from peace. This tastes like home, I said. Martha smiled. I'm glad. Food is better when the heart is calm. I looked at her hands. They were rough, tired hands, yet gentle. You work at the diner every day? Yes, she said. Morning till evening. It keeps us going. It must be hard, I said. She nodded. Sometimes. But hard work keeps the mind clean. Grace looked up. Mom says courage makes us rich. I laughed softly. She's right. That's a kind of money you can't lose. Martha smiled, but her eyes looked far away. I had a husband who believed that too. He worked at the coal factory before. She stopped. Silence filled the room. I'm sorry, I said. Before what? She looked down. Before he died. An accident. They said the machine failed. But truth is, someone cut corners to save money. My throat tightened. I knew the story. My brother's name flashed in my head, but I stayed quiet. I tried to get help, she continued, but no one listened. I wrote letters, prayed, then stopped asking. Anger eats you if you let it, her words cut deep. I wanted to tell her everything, that the coal name was mine, that I was part of the family that hurt her. But I couldn't. I'm sorry, I said again, my voice low. You didn't deserve that. Martha smiled faintly. Life gives and takes. What matters is what we give back, Grace said softly. Mom says helping others is how we breathe again. I looked at her and felt something break inside me. I smiled, but it was weak. Your mom is a wise woman. She learned it the hard way, Martha said. I asked, do you ever regret forgiving? She shook her head. Never. Hate is heavy. Forgiveness is light. I choose light. Her words echoed in my chest. I had spent years chasing revenge, proving myself richer, stronger. But at that table, her simple faith made all my wealth feel empty. Grace finished eating and yawned. Martha smiled. "Go wash up, sweetheart." The girl ran off to her small room. Martha stood to clear the plates. I tried to help. "Please," I said. "Let me do that," she smiled. "A guest shouldn't wash dishes." "Then call me a friend," I said. Her hands paused in the water. She looked at me carefully. "You're not like other travelers." "Maybe I forgot how to be one," I said. "I left home a long time ago. I forgot what kindness looks like." "You can still remember," she said. "It's never too late to be kind." I watched her move, slow and quiet. The small light above her head made her hair shine faintly. My chest ached. "Do you miss him?" I asked softly. "Every day," she said. "But missing someone is proof you loved them right." I tell Grace that love doesn't die. It changes shape. "That's beautiful," I said. She turned and smiled sadly. "It's truth." For a while we didn't speak. The only sound was the water running and the wind outside. "I should go," I said finally. "You've done enough for me." She dried her hands. "You can come again if you need a meal." "I don't deserve that," I said. She frowned. "Everyone deserves kindness, even those who think they don't." Her words hit me harder than I expected. "Thank you, Martha," I said quietly. "You've reminded me of something I lost." She tilted her head. "What did you lose?" "Peace," I said. "And maybe myself," she smiled gently. "Then find yourself again. Start with small good things. Feed someone. Forgive someone." I wanted to tell her that she already fed someone who once forgot how to feel, but the truth stayed locked inside me. Grace came out wearing her nightdress. "Mom, can he come again tomorrow?" Martha laughed softly. "Don't be rude, Grace," I smiled. "Maybe I will, if you let me." "You can," the girl said proudly. "We always have room." I knelt to her level. "You're a good girl, Grace. Keep your mother close." "She keeps me," Grace said, grinning. We all laughed, but my eyes burned. Martha walked me to the door. The night air smelled of rain and dust. "You'll be fine, traveler," she said. "The road always knows where to take a good heart." "Maybe I'll stay around for a while," I said. "The town feels honest," she nodded. "Sometimes small places heal big wounds." I looked at her face one last time. Strong, quiet, full of grace. "I hope life gives you everything you've given others," I said. She smiled. "Then it already has." I stepped outside. The door closed behind me with a soft click. I stood under the stars, my chest heavy and light at the same time. The road looked empty, but for the first time in years, it didn't feel lonely. I whispered to myself, "She fed my parents. Now she's feeding my soul." The wind carried her laughter from inside the house. I walked away slowly, my boots kicking dust on the old path. The night seemed to hum with life. Every step felt like a confession, every breath like forgiveness. When I reached my truck, I sat for a long time, hands on the wheel, eyes staring at nothing. The world outside was dark, but something inside me glowed. I thought of my father, my mother, the years I spent building walls made of pride. And then I thought of Martha, breaking them with one simple meal. For the first time in a long time, I wanted to pray. Not for success, not for revenge, just for strength to be human again. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Thank you." The silence answered like peace. The sky turned gray that morning. I stood near the barn, watching clouds roll across the hills. The wind was dry, full of dust and old memories. I smelled rain, but I also smelled something else in the past. Jacob came running from the gate. "Boss," he said, breathing hard. "Two visitors." "Fancy car." "Said they know you. Names?" I asked. He looked unsure. "Laura and—" "David." The world slowed. My heart hit hard against my chest. I turned away fast so Jacob wouldn't see my face. "Bring them to the porch," I said. My voice felt cold, strange. When I walked back to the house, my boots felt heavier than ever. I hadn't said my brother's name aloud in 10 years. I thought I buried him with my old life, but the dead don't stay buried. They were standing there when I arrived. Laura looked thinner, her hair faded and her eyes small. David wore an old coat, his pride gone. He smiled weakly. "Ethan," he said, "you look well." I crossed my arms. "Can't say the same for you." Laura stepped forward. "We didn't know where else to go." "Then maybe you should have gone anywhere else," I said. She flinched.
Please, Ethan, just hear us out. I didn't answer.
I looked at David. You first. He sighed and looked down. Our company fell apart. Bad deals. Investors pulled out. We lost the house, the cars, everything. I said nothing. I wanted to feel joy. I wanted to feel revenge. But all I felt was a heavy silence inside my chest. Laura tried again. We were wrong, Ethan, about everything. You were right from the start. Stop, I said sharply. You don't get to fix the past with words. David's voice cracked. We came for help. Just a small loan. You have money now. You could, I laughed. Money. That's all you ever cared about. He looked up desperate. Please, I know what I did. I ruined you. I ruined us. But I can't watch Laura live like this. Help us once. I'll pay you back. I stared at them. Laura's hands trembled. David's eyes were wet. For a moment I saw the faces of people I once loved. Then I remembered the night he stole my business. The night she left me for him. Did you ever think about how I lived after you took everything? I asked quietly. Laura whispered. Every day. Liar, I said. You were drinking wine in his mansion while I buried our father. David said, don't drag him into this. I stepped closer, eyes burning. He died believing I was the thief. You made him hate his own son. David's face broke. I'm sorry. I was young. I was stupid. I thought I deserved more. I looked up at the gray sky. The first drops of rain fell. You wanted more, I said. Now you have less than nothing. They stood silent. The wind howled through the porch. Laura whispered, Ethan, please. We have nowhere to go. Help us just for a while. My hands clenched. I could end their misery. One word from me could throw them out forever. I wanted to. But Martha's voice echoed in my mind. Forgiveness is the hardest kind of strength. I turned my face away. Get in the truck, I said. We'll talk at the ranch office. They followed quietly. The ride was silent except for the rain hitting the roof. Inside the office, I poured coffee for them. They looked surprised. David said, You're helping us? I didn't say that, I said. I just want to hear the truth. He nodded slowly. You built this place. It's beautiful. Yeah, I said. Built it from ashes. My ashes. Laura's eyes filled with tears. Ethan, I never stopped thinking about you. I said. Don't make it worse. You chose him. I was scared, she said. You had no money. He promised safety. I laughed softly. And how safe was it? She looked down. Not safe at all. I felt a strange pity rise inside me. I didn't want it, but it came anyway. I said, Do you love him? Her silence was enough. David looked at me. I don't ask for forgiveness. I just ask for a chance to start again. I leaned back in my chair. Forgiveness isn't something you ask for. It's something you earn, he nodded. Then tell me how. I stood and walked to the window. Outside, the land stretched wide and silent, wet with rain. My father's grave was somewhere out there under the oak tree. His voice echoed in my mind again. A man's worth isn't in what he owns, but what he forgives. I whispered, Maybe he was right. What? David asked. Nothing, I said. Then louder. You'll stay in the old guest house. You'll work here till you earn enough to leave. No loans, no pity. You work for it. David looked shocked. You'd trust me here? I don't trust you, I said. But I won't be like you either. Laura wiped her eyes. Thank you, Ethan. Don't thank me. Thank the woman who taught me how to forgive. Who? She asked softly. I didn't answer. Martha's face came to my mind. Calm, gentle, pure. David nodded slowly. We'll work hard. You'll see. I'll be watching, I said. They left the room quietly. I sat alone, listening to the rain. My hands were shaking. I felt angry, sad, empty. Jacob walked in after a while. Everything okay, boss? I nodded. Yeah, just ghosts coming home. He frowned. Those two? They trouble? Not yet, I said. But the past always finds a way. He nodded and left. I stayed there, staring at the window. The rain stopped. The world felt clean, but also heavy. Later that night, I drove out to the hill. My father's grave waited under the big oak. The grass was wet, shining under the moonlight. I knelt and brushed the dirt from his name. You were right, old man, I whispered. Pride eats the heart. Forgiveness feeds it. The wind moved through the trees like a sigh. I closed my eyes. I saw them today, I said softly. David and Laura, they lost everything. I should hate them. I should throw them away, but I couldn't. Maybe I'm tired of hate. Silence answered. Then, in my mind, I heard his voice again. Not loud, but clear. Son, forgiveness doesn't make you weak. It makes you free. I felt tears slide down my face. I let them fall. I'm trying, Pa, I whispered. I'm really trying. When I stood up, the clouds had parted. The moonlight touched the gravestone. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Small, fragile, but real. I looked back at the ranch. A light shone in the guest house window. Maybe David and Laura were awake, talking, maybe fighting, maybe remembering what they lost. That was their punishment, to live with their own choices. As I walked down the hill, the cold wind brushed my face. I thought of Martha again. I remembered her words, help without pride. Forgive without noise, I smiled sadly. You saved me, I whispered. You just don't know it. When I reached home, the night was quiet. The house smelled like coffee and rain. I sat by the fire, watching the flames move. Jacob came in once more. Want me to lock the gates? Leave them open, I said. Let the rain wash the dirt away. He nodded and left. I leaned back, closing my eyes. My chest still hurt, but it was a good kind of hurt. The kind that comes after a wound starts to heal. Tomorrow I'd see them again. Maybe they'd change, maybe not. But I had already made my choice. I whispered to the fire, I forgive you both. But I'll never forget, the flames danced like they understood. Outside, the wind carried the sound of water dripping from the roof. Soft, steady, peaceful. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel alone. I felt human again. I looked at my father's picture on the wall. You were right, I said quietly. Forgiveness is harder than hate, but it's worth it. The house fell silent, warm and calm. I sat there till dawn, watching the light grow across the fields. When the sun rose, it touched the wet grass and made it shine like silver. I thought of all that was lost, love, family, pride, and all that could still be found. Maybe tomorrow I'd take Martha some flowers. Maybe I'd tell her what she taught me. I smiled to myself. A man's worth, I whispered, is in what he forgives. And for the first time, I believed it. The attic smelled of dust and old wood. I hadn't been up there in years. The small window let in a thin line of light, cutting across boxes and broken chairs. My boots made soft sounds on the floor. Dad always said this place keeps secrets. I whispered to myself. Jacob called from below. You sure you want to clean all this today? Yeah, I said. If I wait, I'll never do it, he laughed. You and your ghosts, boss, I smiled weakly. They're family. I opened one box, full of tools and rusty nails. Another had my old school books. Then I saw a tin box under a folded blanket. It looked older than everything else. My heart started to beat fast. What's that? Jacob asked, climbing up. I don't know. I brushed off the dust. It was Dad's, I think. Want me to open it? I shook my head. No, I should. The box creaked when I lifted the lid. Inside was a small envelope, yellow and dry. My name was on it. Ethan, I froze. My hands felt cold. Jacob stepped back. You okay? It's his handwriting, I said. My father's. Want me to leave you alone? Yeah, please. He nodded and went down quietly. I sat on the floor, the light hitting the letter. I didn't move for a minute. I just stared. My breath felt heavy, like the air itself was watching me. Finally, I opened it. The paper crackled. My father's voice came to me in his old slow tone, deep and calm. I read the first line aloud. My son, if you are reading this, then I am gone, and the truth has found its time. I closed my eyes. Truth, I whispered, always comes late. I kept reading. I know what David did. I know how he took your name, your work, your wife. I know how he broke this home. My hands shook. I felt my throat tighten. He knew. All these years he knew. I wanted to tell you, the letter said, but your mother begged me not to. She said you needed peace, not more fire. Peace. I almost laughed. Peace was the one thing I never had, I whispered. You protected him. Why? The paper answered me with more pain. I forgave him, Ethan, because hate was killing me faster than age. I wanted to die with a clean heart. My eyes burned. I put the letter down and covered my face. My father forgave the man who destroyed us. I said to the empty room, how could you, Dad? He took everything from me. But even in that silence, his words stayed clear. When you find this, you will have power. Don't let that power turn into pride. Choose peace over revenge. Choose to be better than me. I couldn't breathe. My mind was full of old pictures. My father's rough hands, my mother crying by the window, David smiling like nothing was wrong. I whispered, "You forgave him?" "So I could live free." I looked up, and the sunlight hit my face. The attic suddenly felt smaller, warmer, almost kind. Then I heard footsteps. It was my mother, Ethan, she called. "You up there?" "Yeah, Mom," my voice cracked. "Come up." She climbed slowly, holding the railing. When she saw the open letter in my hand, she froze. "You found it," she said softly. "You knew?" I asked, her eyes filled with tears. "He made me promise not to tell you." "Why?" "Because he feared you'd burn the world." I sighed. He wasn't wrong. She came closer and touched the paper. "He wrote that when he was sick. Said maybe someday you'd understand forgiveness." I shook my head. "I don't, not yet." She smiled sadly. "You will. Your heart is just tired, not empty." I looked at her. "Did you forgive David too?" She hesitated. "I tried. But every time I saw your face, I failed." I felt a tear roll down. "Then we both failed." She took my hand. "No, son. You came home. That means you're still trying." I looked around the attic. The old boxes, the broken chairs, the quiet air. This was home once. Now it felt like a graveyard of our past. "Mom," I said, "he knew everything. Why didn't he confront David?" She sighed. "Because he believed time punishes better than men do." "Time did punish him," I said. "He lost everything." "Yes," she whispered. "And now it's your turn to heal." I nodded but didn't feel strong. "I don't know how." "Start with yourself," she said. "Forgive your own anger." I looked down at the letter again. "When you find this, choose peace over pride." I read it aloud. The words hit harder this time. My mother whispered, "He always believed you'd understand someday." "I wish he was here," I said. "So I could tell him I'm sorry." "He hears you," she said. "The heart doesn't need walls." We stayed silent for a while. The attic felt softer now, like the dust itself listened. After a long pause, I said, "Mom, did he ever talk about Martha?" Her face changed. "Yes, he admired her kindness. Said she reminded him of you before life hurt you." I smiled faintly. "She still helps you, doesn't she?" "She does. Brings soup every Friday. Says kindness is cheaper than medicine." I chuckled. "Sounds like her." Mom looked at me carefully. "You care about her, don't you?" I didn't answer. She smiled anyway. "Your father would like that." We went down from the attic slowly. The light behind us faded. In the living room, Jacob waited. "You good?" he asked. I nodded. "Better than before." He saw the letter in my hand. "That from your dad?" "Yeah. What did he say?" I smiled faintly. "He forgave the devil." Jacob frowned. "You serious?" "Dead serious." He scratched his head. "I wouldn't. I'd punch him." I laughed. "That's why he wrote to me, not you." Jacob grinned. "Fair point." He left soon after, saying he'd feed the horses. I sat alone with the letter. I read the last line again. "If you want to honor me, live with peace. Hate is just a thief that steals your own home." Home. The word stayed in my head. This house, broken as it was, still held my parents' love. I whispered, "I came back to build walls, but maybe I need to open doors." The air felt lighter. I folded the letter and placed it in my coat pocket. Later that night, I sat on the porch. The moon hung low, big and yellow. Crickets sang. I held the letter in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other. Mom came out with a blanket. "Cold night," she said. "Yeah, but quiet." She wrapped the blanket around me. "He'd be proud of you." "Maybe," I said. "I still have a long way to go," she smiled. "Peace is a road, not a place." I nodded slowly. "Tomorrow I'll go see David." Her eyes widened. "Why?" "To end it." She looked scared. "Ethan, don't." "I'm not going to hurt him," I said. "I'm going to free myself." She covered her mouth. "You sound like your father." Guess I finally heard him. We sat in silence. The wind moved through the trees. Somewhere, a dog barked, and a train passed in the distance. I looked at the stars and whispered, "I forgive you, Dad, and maybe one day I'll forgive him too." The words felt strange at first, then warm. Mom squeezed my hand. "That's your father's blood talking." I smiled faintly. "Then maybe it's good blood after all." She nodded. "Sleep now. Tomorrow will be heavy." "I know," I said, "but I'm ready." As she went inside, I looked at the letter again, then at the old barn glowing faintly under the moonlight. My father's words echoed in my head. "When you find this, choose peace over pride." I folded the paper carefully and placed it inside my jacket, close to my heart. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I just felt human, and somewhere deep inside I knew the storm was ending. I drove to the county jail before sunset. The road was quiet, full of dust and silence. I kept one hand on the wheel, the other on the old letter I found last week. My father's last words. His line echoed in my mind. When you find this, choose peace over pride. At the gate, the guard looked at me. Name? He asked. Ethan Cole, I said. He raised his brows. Here for David Cole? Yes. He called another officer. I waited, staring at the gray walls ahead. The smell of iron and sadness filled the air. My heart beat slow but heavy. When they opened the door, I followed them down a cold hallway. The lights flickered. My boots echoed. Every step felt like walking through old wounds. He's in room 3, the guard said. I nodded and walked in. David sat behind a metal table. His hair was gray now. His eyes were empty like dry wells. The man who once stole everything from me now looked smaller than I remembered. He looked up. Ethan, he whispered. You came. I didn't answer. I just pulled the chair and sat. For a moment we said nothing. Just silence between two brothers who lost everything. Finally he spoke. They told me you'd never come. I thought you hated me. I did, I said quietly. For a long time. He lowered his eyes. I deserve that. The guard left, closing the door behind him. Only the sound of the ceiling fan remained. David leaned forward. You look good. I see you made it. Made it? I laughed a little. You mean money? He nodded slowly. You always had the courage. I had the hunger. I looked at him, remembering the years he spent pretending to help me while planning to take my ranch, my business, my wife. You had greed, I said. Not hunger, he sighed. You think I don't know? I lost everything, Ethan. Laura left. The company's gone. The house, gone. They took everything. I stayed silent. He wiped his face. I can't sleep. Every night I see Dad. He looks at me and says nothing. Just stands there. It's like he's waiting for me to say sorry. I stared at the floor. Maybe he's waiting for you to mean it, I said. David looked at me with red eyes. I'm sorry, Ethan. I was young, stupid. I thought if I had money, I'd be free. But all I found was pain. His voice cracked. You don't know how heavy it feels. I do, I said. I carried it for years. He nodded slowly. You hate me. I know. I took a deep breath. I did, but hate eats you from inside. It kills your peace. He looked confused. So why are you here then? To end it, I said. His hands shook. End it how? I leaned closer. Not with revenge. With forgiveness. He blinked like he didn't understand. What? I forgive you, David. He froze. You can't mean that. I do, I said. Not because you deserve it, but because I can't carry your sins anymore. He looked at me, mouth open, eyes wet. You forgive me. After what I did? Yes, I said. You betrayed me. You took my wife, my work, my trust. You lied to our parents. You made me leave home. But I can't hate you anymore. I'm tired. He covered his face. His shoulders shook. You don't know what this means. I thought you'd come here to destroy me. I almost did, I said softly. But I read Dad's letter. He forgave you long ago. And I realized he was right. Revenge is a chain. It never ends, David cried. Real tears, not the kind you fake for pity. I saw the little brother I used to protect. I lost Laura, he whispered. She left when the police came. She said I was poison. I nodded. She was never love, David. She was pride. Both of you fed it. He looked down. And what did you feed? Silence, I said. And work. I built walls, not homes. He looked up again. So we both lost. Maybe, I said. But loss can teach peace. He wiped his tears with a dirty sleeve. You're a better man than me. I shook my head. No, I just had time to see the truth. You can still find it. He smiled weakly. Find it here? In this cell? I looked around. The walls were old, yes, but the air felt still, calm. Peace doesn't need space, I said. It needs honesty. He leaned back. I don't know where to start. Start by forgiving yourself, I said. He nodded slowly. That's harder than forgiving others. I know, I said. But it's the only way forward. He stared at me again. Do Mom and Dad know you're here? Mom does, I said. Dad's gone. He looked down. His lips trembled. I wanted to tell him sorry. I wanted to... He knows, I said quietly. He left a letter. He said he forgave you. David broke again, crying like a child. He was too good. I didn't deserve him. None of us did, I said. But he gave us love anyway. He nodded, still weeping. Do you think he's proud of you? I smiled faintly. Maybe, but I hope he's proud of us both now. We sat in silence for a while. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Outside, a crow cawed. The world went on. Finally, David spoke again. Ethan, can you help me? How? I asked. Talk to the lawyer. Maybe I can serve time near home. I just want to see Mom before it's too late. I nodded. I'll try. He looked surprised. After all I did? Yes, I said. Because she still calls you her son. And because I can't preach forgiveness and then walk away. He lowered his head. Thank you. I stood. I'll see what I can do. As I turned to leave, he said, Ethan? I looked back. He smiled weakly. I never said it before, but you were always the better man. I shook my head. No, David, I was just the one who came back. He laughed softly through tears. Maybe that's what better means. I walked out, feeling the weight lift from my chest. The hallway seemed brighter now. The guard opened the gate. Done already? He asked. Yes, I said. Done for good. Outside, the air smelled of rain. The sun was low, bleeding orange light over the fields. I stood there for a moment, breathing. My heart felt strange. Not light, but peaceful. Jacob waited by the truck. How'd it go? He asked. I forgave him, I said. He looked at me. That easy? No, I said. But it was time. He nodded. You look different. I feel different, I said. Like I just buried a ghost. We drove in silence. The road stretched long, golden dust rising behind us. After a while, Jacob said, You think he'll change? I hope so, I said. But even if he doesn't, I did. He smiled. Guess that's enough. I looked out the window. The old oak tree by the ranch stood tall in the distance. I remembered the day Dad planted it. He said, Son, one day this tree will be taller than your pain. I smiled. The wind brushed my face. I felt tears roll down, soft and warm. Not from sadness, from peace. When we reached the ranch, I stepped out and looked at the sunset. The light touched the fields, golden and quiet. I whispered, It's over, Dad. It's finally over. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to win or prove. I just wanted to live, simple, honest, and free. I looked at the house where my parents once sat on the porch, where Martha now sometimes came with food for the workers, where Grace laughed with the horses. Life had moved on. So had I. I took the letter from my pocket, my father's handwriting fading now, and read the last line again. When you find this, choose peace over pride. I smiled, folded it, and tucked it near my heart. I did, Dad, I whispered. I finally did. Then I walked toward the house, my boots heavy with dust but my soul clean. The night wind carried a scent of rain and soil, and I felt at last like I was home. I parked my truck outside her small house. The air smelled of rain and wood smoke. My hands shook on the steering wheel. In my pocket lay the folded deed and the note. I had written only 12 words. For all the meals you gave without asking anything in return. I whispered. It's time. I walked to the porch. The light above her door flickered. I heard a child laughing inside. Then the sound stopped, and Martha opened the door. Her eyes widened. Mr. Cole, you came again? Yes, I said. My voice cracked. May I come in? She stepped aside. Of course, inside the house was clean but tired. The walls smelled like soap and old wood. A kettle hissed on the stove. Grace sat at the table drawing with broken crayons. Evening, sir, she said. Evening, sweetheart. Martha smiled. She waits for you now. Says you bring stories. I laughed softly. Maybe tonight I bring truth. Martha looked at me. Truth sounds heavy. It is, I said. But I need to carry it. I took the envelope from my jacket and placed it on the table. She frowned. What's that? Something that belongs to you. Grace leaned forward. Is it a letter? Yes, I said, and a promise. Martha wiped her hands on her apron. Sit, tell me what this is. I sat. My heart beat like a drum. For months I watched you, I said. You came to my parents' house. You left food, soup, bread. You never asked who they were. Her face paled. Your parents? Yes, Henry and Margaret Cole. She froze. The room went silent except for the kettle. Her voice trembled. You mean, you're their son? I am, I said quietly. Ethan Cole, Grace looked up. "You're the man from the newspaper. The cowboy with the big ranch," Martha whispered. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Because I was lost," I said. "I wanted to see who would help them when I didn't, and you did." She shook her head. "I didn't help for praise. I know," I said. "That's why it broke me." Martha sat down slowly. "Your mother said her son was far away." "She never said you were alive in shame," I said. "I left after betrayal, after pride. I built walls made of money." She looked at the envelope. "And now this?" I pushed it toward her. "You're home, paid in full, your name on the deed." Her hand covered her mouth. "No, I can't accept that." "You can," I said. "It's not charity. It's a promise." "A promise? That kindness never dies unpaid." She stared at me, tears shining. "Do you think money replaces grace?" "No," I said. "But maybe it can say thank you when words are too small." She slid the envelope back. "I fed them because they were hungry. That's all." I looked at her. "And I give you this because I was empty." The kettle screamed. Grace jumped up to turn off the stove. Martha poured tea, her hands trembling. "Sit," she said softly. "Tell me the rest." I told her about David and Laura, about the lies, the loss, the letter from my father. I spoke in short bursts, like breaths between pain. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "So you carried anger for years?" "I did," I said. "It fed me more than food, and now?" "I'm tired," I said. "I want peace." Martha looked toward the window. Rain began to fall, soft and steady. "My husband died working in your brother's plant," she said. I hated him once. Then I saw Grace cry for a father she never knew. I learned hate doesn't feed a child. Her words hit deep. I whispered, "You forgave him?" "Yes," she said. "Not for him, for me," I nodded. "Maybe that's what I'm trying to do now." She smiled faintly. "You found your way back home." Those words stopped time. I felt something loosen inside me. All the guilt, the pride, the hunger for revenge, it fell away. I stood and walked to the door. "There's one more thing," I said. "Come with me." She hesitated, then grabbed her shawl. Grace ran after us. "Can I come?" "Of course," Martha said. We stepped into the night. The rain had slowed to a mist. The path to the hill was muddy, but I knew it by heart. We reached the old oak behind my parents' house. Its branches spread wide like arms. I lit a lantern and hung it from a branch. The yellow light swayed over our faces. "This is where my father taught me to pray," I said. Martha touched the trunk. "It's beautiful." I took out another paper from my coat, a small note. On it I had written, "This land belongs to Martha Hale and her daughter Grace, forever free." I placed it inside a tin box and buried it under the roots. Grace clapped. "It's like a secret treasure." "It is," I said. "A promise buried in home and heart." Martha's eyes filled again. "Why me, Ethan?" "Because you showed me mercy when I deserved none." She whispered, "I only did what was right." And that, I said, is what saved me. The wind moved through the branches. I could hear my mother's voice somewhere in the leaves, gentle and proud. Martha turned to me. "What will you do now?" "I'll rebuild," I said. "Not the ranch, myself," she smiled. "Maybe you start with dinner tomorrow," I laughed. "Are you inviting me?" "Grace insists," she said. Grace giggled. "Mom cooks stew when she's happy." "Then I'll bring bread," I said. Martha nodded. "Bread and peace, Mr. Cole." "Just Ethan," I said. No more titles. We stood in silence. The lantern light made her eyes glow warm brown. For the first time in years, I felt calm. She whispered, "Your father would be proud." I swallowed hard. "I hope so." "He would," she said. "He raised a man who finally understands," I smiled. "Understands what?" "That real wealth isn't money," she said. "It's courage to forgive." The rain stopped. The clouds opened just enough for stars to breathe through. Grace leaned against her mother's arm. Martha looked up. "Maybe he's watching from there." "I think he is," I said. "And he's smiling." We started back down the hill. The mud clung to my boots, but my steps felt lighter. At the porch, I turned to her. "Martha," I said, "thank you." She shook her head. "You don't owe me anything." "I owe you peace," I said. "And that I can only repay by keeping it." She placed her hand on mine. Her skin was rough but warm. "Then keep it," she said. "Don't lose it again." "I won't," I promised. Grace yawned. "Good night, cowboy." "Good night, little star." They went inside. I stayed on the porch, watching the light fade through the curtain. The sound of dishes, soft laughter, the life I once dreamed of. I whispered to myself, home. The night wrapped around me gentle and kind. I walked to my truck, but before starting the engine, I looked back at the house. A single candle burned in the window. I touched the steering wheel and closed my eyes. I could still hear my father's words, choose peace over pride. I did, Dad, I said aloud. I finally did. I drove away slowly, the road shining under the thin moon. The oak tree faded behind me, but the promise stayed inside. Not paper, not land, just truth. Forgiveness had found me at last. And in that quiet night, I felt alive. I woke up early that morning. The sky was soft and gray. The air smelled like rain and hay. I heard the sound of birds outside the barn. It felt quiet, almost holy. I walked out with my coffee and the wind touched my face. The ranch looked alive again. Morning, Ethan, Jacob called from the fence. We finished the east field, I smiled. Good, keep it that way, Jacob. He nodded and left. I watched him go, dust rising behind his boots. I felt proud, not of money, not of land. Proud because the place finally felt like home again. Martha came out of the house carrying bread in a basket. Grace ran behind her laughing. You're up early, Martha said. Couldn't sleep, I replied. The house feels different now. It feels like peace, she said softly. I nodded. Yes, peace. Grace ran to me and hugged my leg. Mr. Ethan, can I ride the pony today? I laughed. Only if your mom says yes. She said maybe, Grace said, smiling. Then that means yes, I said. Martha rolled her eyes. You spoil her too much. She deserves it, I said. So do you, Martha looked away, a faint blush on her face. We just help each other, Ethan. That's what people do. I smiled. No, you helped me when I was lost. You gave my parents food when I gave them money and silence. She sighed. You gave them a roof again. You fixed this home. We all did something good. I looked at her hands, strong, gentle, lined with work. You're the reason this ranch breathes again. She shook her head. You did that. You found your faith again. Her words stayed with me. Faith. I once thought faith was only for church people. Now I knew it lived in small acts, bread left by a door, a kind word in hunger, a promise kept in silence. The day moved slow. The sun came out golden, soft over the hills. Grace played with the dogs. Martha cleaned the porch. I worked in the stable, brushing the horses. Every sound felt alive, the crack of wood, the call of birds, the whisper of wind. Later, I went inside. My mother's photo sat on the table beside my father's hat. I touched both. They're together now, I whispered. Martha came in quietly. You miss them? Every day, I said. But I think they're proud. They saw me change before they went, she nodded. They loved you even when you didn't see it, I smiled sadly. Love is strange. It hides. It waits, she looked at me. And it forgives. We stood there in silence. I could hear the clock ticking. My heart felt full and empty at the same time. I want to show you something, I said. I led her outside toward the old oak near the pond. The tree looked ancient, tall and wide, its branches reaching like arms toward the sky. The ground beneath it was clean now. I'd placed a small stone there with my parents' names carved into it. Martha touched the stone. It's beautiful. They used to sit here every sunset, I said. They said this tree held the sound of their laughter. She smiled softly. Now it holds their peace, I nodded. And mine. We sat under the oak. The sky was orange and purple. Grace's laughter echoed from the field. I took a breath and said, Martha, there's something I need to say. She looked at me. Go on. When I came back here, I was angry. I wanted revenge. I thought money could fix pain. But you, I paused, searching for words. You showed me something different. You showed me what forgiveness looks like. Her eyes were gentle. Forgiveness is not easy. It hurts first. I know, I said. But it heals after, she nodded. Yes, it heals. I looked at her. Do you ever think about your husband? Every day, she said softly. But not with anger. I keep his memory in peace. Grace asks about him sometimes. I tell her he was brave. That's enough. You never blame me, I said. Even though my brother caused that accident. Even though my family turned away, I had my anger, she said. But I prayed it away. Hate only eats the heart. I stared at the pond. The water glowed gold. I hated for years. I let it poison everything. I forgot who I was. And now? She asked. Now I remember, I said. I remember home. I remember faith. I remember how to love again, she smiled. Then you found what you needed. I found you, I said quietly. She looked down, her hands folded.
You don't need to say that, Ethan.
I do, I said. You gave my life back. She shook her head. I just shared what I had left. I reached for her hand, and it was enough. We sat there in silence. The wind moved through the trees. The smell of grass and rain filled the air. It felt like the world was breathing again. After a while, Grace ran up to us, holding a small flower. Look, Mama. Look, Mr. Ethan. For you, I smiled. Thank you, sweetheart. She placed the flower on the stone.
For Grandpa Henry and Grandma Margaret,
she said. Martha's eyes filled with tears. That's beautiful, Grace. Grace smiled proudly and ran off again. Martha wiped her eyes. Children see the truth faster than we do. Yes, I said. They see with clean hearts. She laughed softly. You sound like a preacher now, I grinned. Maybe I just sound like a man who finally learned something. She raised a brow. And what did you learn? That peace isn't found in money, I said. It's found in forgiveness.
in love, in home.
She nodded slowly. You kept your promise to your parents. I did, I said. But the real promise was to myself, to never forget again. We watched the sun go down. The light touched her face, warm and gold. For the first time in years, I didn't feel alone. I spoke again. Martha, will you stay here? On this land with me? She looked surprised. Ethan, I'm not asking for marriage, I said quickly. I'm asking for company, for peace, for life, she smiled, small and real. Peace I can give, the rest, we'll see, I laughed. Fair enough. We sat there until the stars came out. The air turned cool. Grace's laughter faded into the night as she fell asleep in the house. Martha leaned back against the tree. It's strange, she said. After so much pain, the heart still knows how to rest. I nodded. Yes, the heart learns, even when we don't want it to. She looked up at the stars. Do you ever think your father sees this? I think he does, I said. He'd probably tell me to stop talking and feed the horses. She laughed softly. He sounds like Grace. We both smiled. Then came a long silence, not heavy but peaceful. I felt my heartbeat slow. The night smelled of pine and rain. I said quietly, you know, I used to count money every night. Now I count blessings. That's a better kind of rich, she said. Yes, I whispered. It is. The moon rose high above us. The oak's shadow stretched long over the field. I thought of everything, and the pain, the betrayal, the loss, the forgiveness. Every moment had led me here. I closed my eyes. Thank you, I said. For what? She asked. For showing me that broken hearts can still beat. She smiled, tears shining. You did the same for me. We sat until the wind turned cold. I stood and helped her up. Come on, I said. Let's go home. She took my arm. Home, she repeated softly. As we walked back, the house glowed with warm light. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't new. But it was alive, full of laughter, memories, and peace. When we reached the porch, I looked back one last time. The oak stood tall under the stars. My parents' stone gleamed faintly. I whispered, I kept my promise. Martha heard me. They know, she said. I nodded. Maybe they do. We went inside. The smell of fresh bread filled the room. Grace was asleep on the couch, holding a small wooden horse I'd carved for her. Martha covered her with a blanket. She dreams easy now, she said. She feels safe, I said. Martha turned to me. And you? I smiled. For the first time in my life, yes. She stepped closer. Then rest, Ethan. I will, I said. I sat by the window, watching the night. The wind brushed the curtains. The sound was soft, almost like a lullaby. I closed my eyes and let the silence fill me. The heart, I thought, does learn to rest, but only after it breaks enough to understand what truly matters. I breathed out slowly. Good night, I whispered, to the house, to the stars, to everything I'd lost and found again. The world felt full. My heart finally was quiet.